Swirling, 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 swirling. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yep. I love these pre stuff that I have to go do here. Smells fantastic. Really good. Oh, see? Yep. Here we go. Let me get him in. Wave, wave, wave. Hey,
Hey, what's going on?
how you doing, Emmanuel?
Hey, Pete. How are you,
Happy
sir?
COVID Sunday. I got my mask here, just in case.
Oh, yeah. I see that.
Yeah, there we go. I'm being safe. So,
Safety first.
yeah. And I'm modeling my new Bear Smoke barbecue shirt. My friend
Oh,
started
yeah?
a barbecue sauce company just recently, and I've been buying a lot of his products. So,
Okay.
had to get some swag.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How you been? Good?
Yeah, I've been pretty well. Kind of a busy week, you know. I know it's been real busy for you.
Hasn't ended. Hasn't ended.
I know, my friend. I know.
It's you and I could talk about that over a couple
Yeah,
of
for
bottles
sure.
of wine.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. So you're outside. I decided to come inside with my baker's rack, and it took me 5 tries to get the lettering right on my little stickies, but
Oh, yeah, right?
because everything's backwards, right? So you're like bizarro land.
Oh, exactly.
Uh, yeah. Um, so probably I'd love to just jump right in. We'll wait a few moments a little bit, but I know we're going to talk about cab. We're going to talk about Sonoma. We'll talk about producers. We'll talk about labels. And lastly, we'll talk about the wine that you recommended. Um, just for anybody who's entering late or sees this later on when we post this to the story, Manuel Altavecchi works at Total Wine in Danvers. I am Pete, founder of North Shore Nosh and a bunch of other Nosh entities. And we do this thing called Wine and Three, where we talk about, we usually have 3 questions, probably a lot more these days, but we talk about wine in general, and we are trying to dispel some myths, show you how to be a better wine consumer, better wine drinker, and to savor wine a little bit more than you probably are. And we hope that you enjoy what we show you these days. But I don't know, Manuel, you want to add anything to that, or did I cover it all?
No, I think that captured it pretty well, Pete, you know. And then we do some,
Yeah.
you know, general discussion about you know, we just kind of connect some dots, you know, try to
Yeah.
entertain.
Sure, exactly. Educate and entertain at the same time. Not
That's it.
necessarily in that order, but we'll get along to it. Um, okay, so last couple episodes, you and I have explored a little bit of Cabernet. For you folks who don't obviously are learning about wine, California, Napa, and Sonoma Valleys are really known for their Cabernet, their Chardonnay, and they're starting to get better with the Pinot. But really, Cabernet is where we've been focusing on. And and last time I think we tried some Alexander Valley, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the
That's right.
kicker came.
Kicker Cane, that's right. And that was an offshoot of the Coppola family, who has a pretty successful wine business. And as everyone knows, the Coppola family is into movie making. But that's in the past. So let's talk about now. We are now going into what we call Sonoma Valley. And Alexander is a little bit north of where we're going to be talking about. These wines that Emmanuel has picked. Is called, we have a cellar classified. There's a mysterious label to all this. You can't know who the heck, where the grapes are coming from. And the other one's called, yep, and there's the other one, that's called Blue Wing Vineyard. Again, these are both Sonoma. This is a 17, and I believe same vintage for this one is a 17, right?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Um, and they're both from Healdsburg. And if people don't know, Healdsburg is a kind of a mid-sized town south of Alexander Valley, north of Santa Rosa, in the Valley floor. It's a cute little. It's actually a nice little town. I've been there many times. I really like it. So now, why did you? Now, you and I've talked to this, but for everyone, why did you pick these two versus the other stuff that we probably know better? You know?
Right. So I chose, first off, I chose that cellar classified because there's not much information about it, actually, because the producer wants to stay mysterious.
Yeah.
And these are wines that
Redacted. Yeah.
they're limited. Yeah, they're limited. Limited amount of cases.
I got it.
And usually with the cellar classified, I've seen some of the other wines go through the store. There was another bottle called Bishop's Ring, and that was from a powerhouse producer, and it was a really great wine. Another cab. But anyway, going back to Sonoma, the Blue Wing, the Rodney Strong Blue Wing, because Rodney Strong is a pretty good household name in the wine industry.
That's right.
So that's why I chose this one to kind of compete, so to speak, with the other cellar classified.
Got it.
And just we were gonna go at it and do it blind.
Yeah, we're gonna do a blind. I'm gonna talk to people about the blind thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So I think these guys are on Old Wood. I think is it. I know where they're Old Rosewood Highway or something like that. Is this a separate vineyard of Rodney Strong? Is this a separate, like a single vineyard, or is this a collection of vineyards that they make this wine label on?
It's a collection of vineyards.
All right.
It's a collection of vineyards. Yeah. It's not a single. It's not a single vineyard. So, the Blue Wing, I really wanted to try to get a little more information about, but I think it's kind of like a project they did.
Pet project.
And it's price friendly, right? Under $20.
Sure. Wine value, folks. Wine value. Divine Diary. I know you're listening. Wine value. Now I've been to Rodney Strong. I do like Rodney Strong.
Okay, there you go.
But I like the idea that and we a lot of us, we've talked about this a lot, but for new viewers, we are trying to show people that we're trying to remove label bias. So I don't know this label at all. Manuel recommended it to me. I had no clue who the heck it was. And then obviously when I read the back, it was Rodney Strong, and I'm like, oh, okay, well that's interesting. So that way I didn't have a bias of Rodney Strong if I grabbed it off the shelf, like, oh, that's a pretty label. Oh, look, it's got a bird. They talk about animals in here and all that kind of stuff, and it's got a pretty label. So again, we're talking about label bias, and then especially this one. This looks like something I could slap together a label on and put it on a bottle, and no one, and charge people $20. They wouldn't know what the hell they were buying. But again, you're in the business of selling wine. I'm in the business of producing and drinking it. But
right. Yeah. Well, I think people become comfortable easily when they're familiar with the brand. Which that's what we're trying. You and I, we've talked about this several times, and we were supposed to try to put our class together. Before things hit with the COVID. So that's kind of what we were trying to remove. That's what we're trying to tell the audience. You're trying to remove the bias, and that's why we're doing it blind. That's why we're doing it blind today.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's go charging into this. So
do it.
Right. So when we talk blind, folks, there's a certain level of blindness, I guess, to doing this, because I have to put this in two separate vessels. I have to put it in the wine glasses actually look the same. The only way I'm going to be able to tell at the end what I'm drinking is I have a number written on the bottom of the stem. But that way I poured them, before, but I mixed them all up. I have no idea what is what. So that's what we mean by blind. It's that way you don't like, oh, I know that's the Blue Wing or that's the cellar classified. So I think this is really important. This is actually a fun little exercise. And we do this for our Friday night wine fight a lot. Well, actually all the time, where I don't know what I'm drinking. My wife doesn't know what I'm drinking. We all mix it up. So it's a little bit of a fun element to this, and especially with this cellar classified, I'd like to see this. All right. So how would you like to proceed, Emmanuel? And what do you recommend here?
Okay.
Just grab.
So because to the audience, as you said, you have a method that you use with the that's marked. I'm just gonna grab a glass that I have available here.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. And so I always like to look at the color. This thing's pretty good. The color goes almost to the rim. Usually you tilt your glass like this. You put it on a white surface, something neutral color, to take a look at it. And this is a little bit of a healthy pour, but it's Sunday. I'm a little thirsty.
It's Sunday. Sunday fun day.
Sunday COVID day. Yeah, exactly. And then, oh boy. Okay, that's intense. Not much on the top end there. I can't pick out the berries, but I think it's more of I don't know. I think it's I would say more of a black cherry almost. I don't know about this one. And then, folks, what I'm doing is I'm smelling at the bottom and I'm smelling at the top, but I'm also taking a whiff as I get close, because sometimes more of the faint smells are right there, and then when you dig your nose in there, like my schnoz here, that's when you get the deeper smells. What are you smelling there, Manuel? What do you got?
I have, definitely a little blackberry, but that goes with the varietal anyway. You usually get some of that.
Yeah, exactly. So, folks, just let you know what what I did about last year, because I've kind of dabbled in wine and I rejuvenated my interest in wine. But really, what I did is I bought this little wheel. This is like a little tasting wheel, a smell wheel. Helps me kind of align my thoughts, because you're like, it smells like it's like, well, there's a little bit more nuance to these wines, because there's so many different variables with wine. And that's why I just do to organize my thoughts a little bit. I'm getting maybe more of a plum now, but
yeah, a little bit of plum. I taste that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't tasted it yet. So, and then I do this leg test. There's actually a scientific term for this, but I forgot. I have no idea. But they talk about legs and really how thick the legs are, how fast they come down. It really tells you about the viscosity of the wine and really the alcohol level. Again, I don't know which wine I'm drinking, so I can't look at the label and tell you what it is. But I think it's probably a medium alcohol level here. But the wine, legs aren't really that thick, and they're not coating the glass. All right, now let's go diving in here.
Well, what are you calling this though? Are we calling this a kind of is it more fruity? Is it a little more full body? Is it?
Well, it's I think it's more of a medium body, to be honest. The tannins they're there, but they're muted.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely say medium body. Medium body, yeah.
Yeah, I would say there's a tannins, the medium body, I would say there.
Do we want to take some of these questions?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I didn't know there was okay. Yes. Kristen, yeah, I see your question. Sorry, I'm imbibing here, but yes, typically the larger legs, the higher alcohol. So like the way to prove that out, I'm not full of crap. Get a glass of port or a glass of high alcohol, anything.
Zinfandel, maybe Zinfandel.
Zinfandel's got a higher alcohol. You'll see a bigger legs come down, and it's going to take a long, and especially with port or like a mineral spirit, it's going to take a long time for those legs to come down the glass. So if you see like I've had it where like you've had wine where it's really low alcohol and it's really skinny legs and they go flying down, they go really fast down here. So in this case, we have kind of a medium body on this one. And then the thing I didn't get across, and I know Emmanuel's probably going to correct me on this, but when we taste wine for the first time, you try to take a little sip. Don't guzzle it. If you want to guzzle it, we can talk. We have a box wine scenario down the road, but
right.
you're so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the wine on all the different parts of your tongue. And then you're also trying to get your nose involved because you got the olfactory senses back here. They're actually going to help you taste this wine a little bit better.
Right. The olfactory is interject this piece. The olfactory is most important, really. It's really one of the strongest, senses that the human body has,
Yeah. And so the other piece of this alcohol thing is when I'm going to breathe in through my mouth and I'm actually going to breathe out through my nose. And that's going to kind of either validate my, validate my comments on the alcohol. Alcohol has a bit of a heat to it. So when you actually have something very high alcohol, it is hot. It goes hot down your throat. It'll be the same way if you breathe through your nose, it'll be hot through your nose. In this case, I breathed through my mouth when I swallowed it and then went out with my nose. And the alcohol wasn't there as much as I thought it would be. So maybe it's a lower alcohol. It's probably like a 12 to 13. I don't know.
All right.
That's my guess.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and this, the tannins there, I'm getting more of a gravel slate taste to it. I don't know what it is, but there's no fruit forward in the taste.
Nope.
Definitely on the smell, but no fruit. This reminds me of the Alexander Valley we had a couple weeks ago where there was no tannin at all, but this has got a little bit more tannin. So this is a little bit southern, more southern into the Sonoma Valley, probably on the side of the mountain. I don't know, this could be the Rodney Strong, but I'm guessing. But
yeah, well, we're gonna find out. I mean, let's see how the other one goes. We're still spending time with this one.
Yeah. All right. So, Kristen, I see your question. Thanks for asking. So after this episode, actually, I am making a smoked roast beef and very simple meal with the rest of it, just a simple salad and simple roast potatoes. So the roast beef, I specifically picked the roast beef for this because it's going to have a smoky flavor to it, but also going to have that heavy beef flavor to it. So we're going to see what goes well with either one of these two. So
sounds delish.
Oh yeah.
Can you send some over here? Can you send some over here?
I haven't smoked a roast beef in a while, but I figured it was time.
No, it's time. So
yeah,
I see the question there. What I'm eating. So
yep.
So
the wine guy's eating. Well, I didn't know if she wanted the wine guy with me or wine guy you, but maybe you're right. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I assume it's me.
Yeah.
So the Gabrielle, my wife, she made these little quiches. Very nice.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
Got some vegetable in it, some cheese.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it goes really well with the wine.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back to this one. All right. I'm going to clean my palate a little bit.
Should we answer the question here, Pete?
What's that?
I saw something about a gas station wine. What's a good gas station wine? Is that
the Irving guy?
That's your friend there, right? Is that your friend there?
Yeah, Mama. Yeah, there you go.
That I talked to you last when we did this session last.
Yep. That we did the wine where we talked about a boxed wine episode in the boxed wine slam down or showdown. Probably in the summer when it's a little warmer and we get out in the water or something like that. Okay, so there's that wine. All right, I'm going to go move to my second one. I don't know if you're on your second one.
Let's do that.
I think this one, I'm trying to compare these two. This one's got a little bit of a different color, more of a tawny brown.
Tawny brown. Yeah, that's a good descriptor.
Yeah, there you go. It is Wine Geek right there, tawny brown.
I like it, Pete.
And for a 3-year-old wine, it should have got an interesting color like that. I haven't seen that before, but um, again, oh yeah, look at these legs are going a little slower. Okay, definitely a little slower. So we probably expect some higher alcohol here. Um, yes, I did clean the palate with water. Normally, I would grab crackers, but I really don't want to eat too much before I have my dinner here. Right.
Right, right.
Oh, whoa! That smells like cat litter. Believe it or
Well,
not,
that's
I
not.
smell cat litter. But maybe if you have cats, you know what I'm talking about. But
I don't
but
have cats. I don't have cats, and I
yeah,
know what
but
you're talking about.
yeah. Well, I look at when I say cat litter, I think of clay,
Yeah.
the clay litter. So more of a earthier note there. Yeah. See, now on the top end, I don't smell that. So that's more of a fruitier. I would say that's more of a blackberry there. I got a blackberry there. I don't get anything
Okay.
like a cherry or straw raspberry. That's too fruity for this. Yeah. Yeah, the cat litter's on the bottom, fruits on the top. It's weird. This is kind of fun, guys. This is like stuff you're like I've had wine taste like pure cat litter and then it tasted it and it actually didn't taste that good. I mean, it tastes great, but it didn't smell that good going in. But it's almost
Right.
like
Yeah, the
when
nose.
you
The
have
nose is not so good. The nose
yeah,
is not much. There's not much to offer.
no, it's not inviting, you know.
Right. Right.
Actually another trick I do, you can smell on both sides. Um, I don't know if this. I think the smell is going to be just completely going to mislead you on this one. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm going
You
to
gotta
go
look
diving
past
in.
it. You gotta look.
Yeah.
You
I
gotta
think.
look past it a little bit if you can.
Hmm. Oh, okay. That's not bad. Well, actually, I think I like it better than the other one. That's a medium body. Tannins are there. You know, you expect it with a 3-year-old. Long finish. Um, I don't know if it's really complex wine. It's like I don't get a lot of flavor. I don't taste any fruit here. No fruit forward. Yeah, the
Okay.
alcohol comes through. The alcohol came through a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I actually like this. I like this better than the other one, but
Is that right?
yeah, I think I did. I did see a question from Kristen. Well, decanting and aerating. I aerated both of them for about 2 hours. Yeah, it's usually too long, but it's fine. The more that these things breathe, especially these things that are this young, it's better. I think Manuel talked and I talked about this before. When we had the kicker cane, I had only aerated out for about an hour, and I was okay with the wine. But actually, when I had it with dinner, like another hour or two later, it actually was much better. Enjoyed it. I think it really had a time to breathe. I recommend aerating all your reds. I think it just, when you have wine that's been in the bottle for a while, you have this little neck, little hole here. It's only not going to breathe that much. Maybe if you pour it in a glass, but then you still have the rest of the wine that hasn't been aerated. That's my tip.
Those
So
are good tips. Those are valuable tips.
yeah.
Um.
And for some of you who don't have an aerator, like, I bought an aerator for not $10 at Emmanuel's store. They're really cheap, but if you don't have an aerator, you can actually put it in a blender, believe it or not. Just put on low speed. Don't have to go crazy with it. You're really just trying to introduce oxygen into this wine. It's been really kind of cooped up for these wines have been cooped up for 3 years. There's wines that are older, which you want to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more delicate. You're also going to have sediment in the bottom of these things for the older wines. And a lot of times you do a little light test to make sure when you are aerating, you're not getting the sediment into your decanter, basically. Um, so this one is very interesting. You and I might have been doing. Well, I think you and I may have picked the right blind ones because again, the smell. Now it's getting to be a little bit more of a kind of more of a. I can't even write the. I can't even describe that fruit in it. I can't smell that cat litter anymore.
Yeah, I think that was just the initial, you know,
Yeah,
because I got some of that too. It was a little displeasing, you know, but
yeah. That's probably the right word for it. It is displeasing when you have that smell. I describe it as like when if you like Scotch, there's Isla Scotch, which is made with
I like
peat.
Scotch. Sure.
I love Scotch, so like, but that
Okay.
Isla Scotch whiskey is really has that heavy peat smoke, and
Yeah,
it
it's
is
it's it jumps on you. It jumps on you.
it jumps on you, and you're just like, I don't know if I want to drink this. That's not the case with this wine. I think it was fine. It's just you know. But in this case, it's actually the smell's changing a little bit. Hmm.
It's got like what I get from it, you know,
Yeah,
as I'm drinking it here slowly and I'm trying to take it in,
yeah,
um, a little more methodical with tasting it. It's on the front end. There's not much there, and then
yeah,
as it kind of comes in to the palate, then you get a little
yeah.
fruit. You know, and the finish is kind of long, like you were saying.
It is long. It's very long. I still think it's not a complex wine.
No, it's not.
So yeah,
No.
so to let people know what I mean by a simple and complex, I had was it a Barolo? Yeah, I had a Barolo a couple weeks ago, and the finish changed. Like every time I tasted it, tasted different over a span of an hour. And now I wasn't guzzling it. Obviously, I'm sipping it, but it was so complex that every time I tasted it, I had to look right down another note. Like, well, I taste like a stone, or I taste. I didn't have any citrus, but it was more of a red black fruit thing. But it was very complex, and the finish was long. Like it was like, whoa, okay. And when you have a very simple wine, you don't have that many. Like I still taste the same thing over and over again. But again, the smell is evolving here.
Right,
But
evolving.
yeah,
That's
it's
that's it.
evolving. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's what I mean by simple versus complex. Because
Right.
with a very complex wine like a Barolo or something like a heavy cab, maybe something left bank cab, you're going to have wines that are just intense, and it's going to take a while to kind of tease them out with the oxidation of the wine. Your palate, again, is very subjective to what your palate versus another's, but you can tell, like, if you grab a simple jug wine, you're like, yeah, okay, all right. But with these complex wines, they have a longer finish. You're going to have taste different things. It's actually going to increase your enjoyment of wine, I think, because you're going to say, wow, I let this sit for a little bit and look at this. I actually like this wine now. Before you like, I didn't really like it that much. Now it's like, oh, okay. So this second wine is what is going to me right now is with this evolving smell. Yeah,
Now, let me
I'm
let me say this too, though, Pete.
yeah.
Sorry if I can interject.
No, please interject. I'm rambling again as I usually do. So
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I was thinking with the piece about evolving, you know, in the glass. If you look at the Cabernets, you know, we talked about Spring Mountain. We haven't talked about that yet. Spring Mountain, and then
yeah,
if we look at as well as Howell Mountain, which are
yeah,
two prestigious areas, right?
that's
Heavily
right.
heavily
Yep,
recognized. A lot of those wines that come out of there, which obviously they fetch, you know, a good amount of money per
yep,
bottle.
yeah,
Um, I was lucky enough to have, you know, Robert Foley. He's a small producer, actually through
yep,
Nolden. So I got to
yeah,
kind of
right,
drink the Spring Mountain. He had a Spring Mountain from, and he had a Howell Mountain as well. And
yep,
literally in the glass, you know, over a period of time, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes. The wine that you tasted initially and the wine you taste after the 45 minutes is not the same wine. That's what we're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah, exactly. And I talked about a Barolo, which is a very intense wine, and they usually
Yeah,
have to sit around
absolutely.
for a while. But I also had a Bulgari, and a Bulgari for my Nosh Nation. A Bulgari is basically a region within Italy where they are allowed to not necessarily use the was it Nebbiolo or Sangiovese grape. They can do more French varietal blends, which would you see on the left bank or right bank in Bordeaux. You're going to have more of a Cabernet, Merlot, or Cab Franc mix, and their wines are very complex. Again,
Yes.
That wine evolved too, and I think it's very hard for some of those wines to be paired with food. I think these would go well with the beef. Whatever, I think either one will. I think I'm leaning to this one. But you know what? I'm gonna cleanse my palate again with the water. I'm gonna do my kind of final decision. This is almost like a virtual wine fight anyway for us, because you haven't
Right.
done that with me and my wife, right? So.
No, no, we
Hmm.
haven't. We want to soon, hopefully.
Yes, yes, exactly. So everyone who's joined me, I just want to let you know what Wine Fight is all about. Every Friday night, my wife and I, we pick two bottles, just like we're doing now. We get two bottles. We do the blind test, and we don't. I don't take notes like I'm doing here. I'm just doing little notes here, but we really comes down to is do you like it or you don't like it, and if you do like it, and she and I pick the same wine, or you have more people than two, you actually have a winner. There's your winner, and that wine carries over to the next night. So for in real time, we pick the Caricante, which is Sicilian white, on Friday, and that was one has won 2 weeks in a row, and it's going to go for another third week. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna meet it up with, but that's kind of the whole concept of this wine fight thing. And this is actually increasing my enjoyment of wine because we're trying different wines. We're trying to get rid of this label bias that Emmanuel and I talk about. Um, and these wines have been very good so far. I'm impressed, Emmanuel. These are good. I mean,
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad, Pete. I'm glad you're, you got excitement around them.
mm, yeah, tannins are real heavy on that. I can tell right now. Puckering. That puckering is where the tannins come in.
The tannins, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. You know what? Maybe on that wine, you could probably lay that down for a little bit. Laying down just means basically sitting in my wine rack for a week. But um, yeah, that's a little wine joke, folks. It's okay. You can laugh.
That's some humor. We need humor. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Oh, I like this one. Yeah, this one. This is it. I like it.
You like it. You like it a lot, huh?
Yeah, the kitty litter smell's gone.
Yeah, because I just think it's you got to give a wine a chance because initially with the nose, the
Yeah.
nose was really appealing, not appealing.
Yeah. Well, that's the pro. I think that's the challenge for people when they go to wine country or wherever wine country they go to, right? It could be Napa, Sonoma, Virginia. It
Right.
could be Italy or France, or if they have wine tastings over there. But they're pouring you something they may have just opened, or they could be pouring you something that was opened, I don't know, 8 hours, 6 hours ago, that nobody really wanted. So, and a lot of us will do impulse buys. We're going to go like, oh, I love this one. We're at Gurgitch Hills. We're going to have like a couple of glasses, taste some wine, and like, oh, I love that. I'm going to buy a case of it. But it's like, then you get it home and you're like, oh, I don't really like it that much. So I think that's a challenge for us when we go to the wine country, do the tasting. It's a fun thing. You want to have fun with everybody and, taste the wines and all that. But I think you got to temper your expectations a little bit because sometimes, especially with reds, I'm not talking about whites. Whites are a different story. Whites, you don't necessarily need to age, but with reds particularly, and again, it all comes down to the producer and their reputation. But if you're trying producers you don't know, you don't know what you're getting really sometimes, I think. I don't know. Yeah, first world problems. Yeah, your wife is.
Yeah, yeah. Gabrielle is putting that on. Yeah, she's keeping us honest. All right. I was gonna say though
I know.
too.
Yeah.
Pete, when people go visit wine country, whether, like you say, they go to Napa or go to Sonoma, what happens is, and I talked to many people about this, and they'll go through the tour and they'll enjoy the wines, and they'll it's like a magical experience for them. But then they'll get the wines and then they'll get them shipped home, and it's not the same. It doesn't offer the same experience for them. Well, what I think what's going on is basically wine has a story, and I want to get into that with a little bit of Rodney Strong, because there's a little story behind how it got called Rodney Strong.
Okay.
And I don't know if you'll wear it, but my point in all this is that people, they get locked into a memory of when they had the wine, so that wine becomes, phenomenal, and it's superb, and then they'll have it back at home, and it doesn't taste the same for them. Well, that's because it's the memory has taken place, right? They had a memory of it, and it's the setting of when they had it in Napa or Sonoma.
Yep, exactly. You're right. I want to add to this because my wife and I, we went to Sterling, right? And Sterling's got this really cool gondola that you go up to get to the winery. And the wine, and when we were there, the wine was fantastic. You're on a kind of a hill, mountain. You're overlooking the valley, and yet other times I've had Sterling, the wine wasn't as good. I thought there's a lot of inconsistency there. Even though they're a big producer and they are in the stores a lot, I just find some of their wines are hit and miss. And again, right, exactly what you're talking about. It was the experience of driving up on the gondola. My wife's scared of heights. I didn't know at the time, but but we're having like you're having a little bite to eat, and you're having some glasses of wine, and you're surrounded by nature, and you got the valley floor below, and it was a sunny day. It was beautiful. But again, I had it other times. I'm like, not so good, So I get exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
We're on the same page. All right.
Yeah, we're on the page. Yeah, we're definitely on the page. So let's. I know you want to talk about Rodney Strong, so let's talk about Rodney Strong. So. Okay.
So once again, going back to this, if people have joined us recently, this is the Rodney Strong product. I got to try to get it in there. How's that? Can you see that, Pete?
Yeah, look, I got professional studio lighting now, so.
Oh, good for you. You're moving on up. Yeah. So this is the Blue Wing from Sonoma, Rodney Strong, that we tried here for the blind tasting this evening. But what happened initially with the founders of the vineyard, the gentleman, he was from the Pacific Northwest, and at a young age he decided to go into becoming a dancer and a choreographer. So he studied in New York. He did that for a while, and then he went to Paris, where he met his wife, Charlotte Ann Wilson. So, they had a very romantic, affectionate relationship. They left the Paris scene of dance, and then they went back to Sonoma, whereupon during that time, they were looking at, what they could do. And they decided to kind of learn the business of winemaking. And this is 1950s now at this point. So
yeah, that was early days for Sonoma. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. This is like, when it was starting to really become, it's the beginnings. And so they ended up taking on and working at this vineyard. It was called Windsor Vineyards at the time.
Yeah, okay.
And then later on, they ended up, the gentleman's name was Rodney Strong, and then they named it Rodney Strong. Now, there's a Sauvignon Blanc that is from that producer, Rodney Strong, and it's called Charlotte. It's after the wife. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's like an ode to the wife. So. That's just a little story that I kind of was looking at and read about.
Oh, that's, a little romantic. It's really a nice romantic. I actually enjoy the stories of how these people do this. Like they start it, they take the risk, they take the chance, and a lot. And as you mentioned, I mean, you said in the 50s and 60s. So at this point, right, are the kids involved in producing the wine at this point, or is it have they sold off or done something different?
Um, I don't know. I didn't really read about the kids. I didn't hear much
Yeah,
about that. So
yeah.
I didn't dig that deep. I thought that was, but I'm
Oh, that's
sure.
fine. I'm just curious because I see a lot of stories about the second or third generation in
Right,
California.
right.
And I'm not talking about France and Italy because we're talking 10, 11 generations there. But like the second or third generation are now involved with the winery operation and they're helping, obviously, grandma, grandpa have moved on or they're still around, but they're very old at this point. So now they're taking over. Um, and I wasn't quite sure. I don't know the Rodney Strong as well as others, but I do like that story. It's actually kind of neat. There's a lot of great stories, and I'd love to hear more from you about some of the others that we run into.
Oh,
All
absolutely.
right.
And
Yeah.
piggybacking on what you were saying there, Pete, with
Yeah.
a generational thing with winemaking and the wine business. Then you can look at and this could be for another time, but
Yeah.
quickly, I'm just going to quickly touch upon it. Is the Wagner family, because the Wagner family is very well recognized.
Yeah.
Because I went down the line from the grandfather to the son,
Yeah.
and then the son of the gentleman, Charlie. Charlie
Yeah.
Wagner? Charlie.
Yeah. That's right. I
And
think
then it
so.
was
Yeah.
Joe Wagner's the son, Joe Wagner.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know I'm probably going on a tangent here, but I think when you're a second and third generation versus like 11th, 12th generation, I think there's more pressure on those folks versus that
Right.
second and third because that 11 and third, when you're in 11th generation of an operation like that, you're like they really don't want to take a lot of chances. I think when you're second and third, you want to kind of like prove dad wrong or prove mom wrong or, and dabble a little bit and, but I think I don't know, I think there might be a built-in wall of experimentation and innovation at that point. But, there are some wineries over there that have done some different things and they probably bought, acquired things and like decided to like, we're going to acquire that vineyard, let them do what they do best over there and then and then we'll just add our marketing arm and our distribution to help them. But basically the vineyard's going to stay the same and then the winemaking is going to stay the same and maybe we'll add a winemaker over there. But I don't know. I think that's probably what I'm seeing over here, but
No, it's making sense. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
all right. So all right, we have to reveal our choices, I know, before we run out of time.
Well,
So
I want to have one last sip of each. Just,
oh, all right, okay, okay. I'm pushing you here.
just to solidify it. Just to solidify.
I have to, sometimes I'm wrong with this stuff, but
Well, let's start with this. Let's go back. Which one do you like better?
hmm,
Why don't
I am,
why don't you go ahead and then cover then what you've
yeah.
been drinking? The one you like better.
Hmm. It's the second one. The second one is really good. Yeah, it's a number one, and the number one was, believe it or not, I put it in my craft, and it's the Blue Wing.
Is that right?
I loved it. I really like it a lot.
Okay.
Now, what you got?
All right. Well, let's see. So number one is the kitty litter, right? Kitty litter?
No, yeah, number one was a kitty litter. Yeah. Meow meow.
Because I actually like. So I like the one that's in this glass.
Yeah.
And I have my little piece of paper here because I had Gabrielle kind of. So let's see what it says. So this is Rodney Strong.
Oh.
I like
Well,
this
there you
one
go.
though. I like this
Oh,
one.
all right, all right. Well, you go. So,
So we differ.
Well, I differ. You know what? You know why I think the difference is? I think it's the tannin. I think the tannins are rounded with the one I felt, and this one's a little. For me, it was like I tasted a little bit sharper tannin, and it puckered my mouth too much the point where I really, it wasn't like not enjoyable. It was fine. It was just, I'm thinking this other one I picked, I'm like, I thought the tannins are a little bit rounded, more, I would felt like it would definitely go with whatever I'm going to serve tonight. So, but the fruit forward thing, I don't really, there's not a lot of fruit in these. I maybe on the smell, but not much other than that. Maybe when these things get older, the fruit will come forward, but I don't think so. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't think so at this point. I mean, no, because we've been going at this now about 45 minutes. So,
no, but I mean, like if I tasted this in 2 years, would fruit come out or maybe
I don't
not?
think so.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I think it's it's not that sort of wine. I don't think it's not gonna advance in any way.
Yep. Mm.
That's my thought.
Yeah. No, you're right. I know what you're talking about because sometimes with certain wines, the tannins overwhelm the fruit, and then the tannins soften over time, and the fruit will come out. But certain wines, it's the other way around, where the fruit should be out in front, and the tannins are on the backside. But yeah.
So the question, right? You see the question there, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
So for Pete, I missed it earlier. Price point of the winner.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, do you want to respond to that?
I think both of these bottles were sub 20, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Sub 20.
this is Pete's bottle right here, right? Can we see that?
Blue Wing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's $17.99. Is that right? Is that where we're at now?
Yeah, I think this was the 1999 one, if I'm not mistaken.
1999, and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, 1999. That's right.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
This one, for some reason I appreciate this one more. I appreciated it more.
Yeah.
This one is real price friendly. That is seller classified. It's $12.99.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. And it's got a punt, so you can pour it like.
Yeah. I saw that what you sent me. That was interesting. The little clip, but
yeah.
Can we talk a little further about punts maybe, or is there something else you want to?
Sure. We might as well geek it out. We have about 10 minutes left. We can geek it out a little bit. I'm going to geek it out again because if you notice, I don't know if I can do this right. This seller classified is maybe an eighth of an inch shorter in height to the Blue Wing, and this seller classified's got a punt in it, basically this indentation, and it's kind of got a thick, heavy approach to the bottle. Again, yeah, exactly. So like years ago, when they were making wine bottles by hand and blowing them, there was a process where this indentation was required because that's how they had to make it. But these days they don't necessarily do this. So like this Blue Wing is basically the punts like this. But you could talk about punts. I think I covered a little bit about it, but go ahead.
So piggybacking on what you're saying, Pete, with the punts.
Yep.
Also, during the Roman civilization, right? So these were one of the first civilizations, not the only civilization, but to really appreciate wine and to make wine. What I read, it had to do with the glass blower, the amount of oxygen in their lungs, and when they blew the glass. So that would depend on the whether the punt was smaller or it was deeper. And then obviously, it lends itself to holding the bottle as well, because if it's a bit deeper, then you can kind of get your fingers in there, right, Pete?
That's right.
And then you can pour it.
Yeah, you can pour it like this.
Yeah, you can pour it.
Yeah.
And then your fingers aren't adding they're not warming the wine up at all. They're not.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that allows.
Yeah. And I think from a sommelier or a server level, when you pouring a wine, you're supposed to show the label to the consumer when you are pouring the wine. And getting to Kristen, this is actually an interesting debate because I geeked out about this before, where this is only an eighth of an inch, maybe if that. But this wine looks a little heftier, right? It's got a little more oomph to it. Like now, if you like grab a bottle of Remy Martin cognac, that's got that little pear-shaped bottle. It's a very nice looking bottle versus other cognacs. It's actually not I mean, it's very attractive. So there's a lot of marketing that goes with all this, and they obviously spend a lot of time on the bottles, and we talked about labels here. This label is nothing special. It's nothing. It's just like, again, something I can make on my printer at home and probably just redact a couple things and just make it look the same way. This label looks a little bit different. It's got a pretty little bluebird on it. It's got the nice black and blue with the silver lettering. There's definitely marketing that goes into the shapes of these bottles. Sometimes these bottles are different colors. I know Emmanuel lives in this stuff every day when he's at work, but if you go look at an aisle of wine bottles, you're going to see a lot of variance in terms of the wine shapes and some of the wine and the glass coloring as well. It could be green, it could be amber, it could be clear, obviously for white as well, because they want you to be able to see the color of that white wine that you're buying. So I hope I answered that. Did I get that right, Manuel? I'm off? Am I off with that?
No, I think you're on it.
Yeah.
It's a marketing piece. And some have, huge punts, and they're wider at the bottom, much wider. It's just the appeal, just trying to target people, because that's what we're seeing. It's a visual experience when we go to sometimes when we go to choose a wine. It could be a visual visual experience where we gravitate to one wine over another because we like the label. It's a branding thing. It's a brand. Here tonight, that's what we're trying to get away from, is the branding piece, because you're paying a little bit more money. You're paying a little bit more money when you see these bottles that are kind of snazzy.
This was more. Yeah, this was more than that one. Yeah, exactly. Right. This was more than this one. Again, it's only two people, so the sample size is small, but you liked this one, I like that one. But if I saw these two, if I didn't taste them, and they were sitting on a shelf next to each other, which one would you buy? Well, even though this one's got a little bit of a shorter, kind of a stoutier base, I'd grab this one because the label, it's pretty. Oh, look at that. This is nice, very elegant. This looks like something that I buy at the local convenience store, selling for, $9.99 on sale. But what you've proved is that this wine's really good. I liked obviously the other one, but it's fine. This wine is good. I actually like it. So there we go. That's what we're here about, right? So
I'm glad. Yeah. No, it's absolutely.
All right. So we got barking dogs in the background, which is fine. We are live. I don't know if we have any other questions. I don't know if we got to geek out anymore, but I know we try to do these things every 2 weeks, which is fine. I didn't know. I leave these up. I'm actually leaving a lot of this content up to you, Emmanuel, because I think you've been picking out some great wines. I think you're showing us a lot of things that we should be aware of. It's not the label. It's just not. I would, either one of these wines is going to be fine. I would love them. And again, we talked about price. Again, it depends on people's budgets too. But if you can get this for $12.99 and you really like it, hey, get it. Buy more of them. Exactly. Oh, hey, all right. So the 90 plus blends. All right, I don't know the 90 plus blends as well as you do. I've had a few, but I'll let you answer that one from Kristen.
Okay, Kristen. Well, I'm gonna say that 90 plus. I mean, it had a good business plan. Where they were sourcing grapes from from what I understood, from these major producers, and then they were bottling the wine and then giving it at a price friendly cost. Now, myself, I haven't got into the 90 plus wines. That's not something that I've dabbled with, but I think you can get some good value there depending. I think they have a Napa one, Napa Cab, which I've heard good things about. And they do pretty well with the Sauvignon Blanc as well. I personally haven't tried them, but
so which one? Like, are they big sellers in your store? The 90 plus?
it's no, I wouldn't say they're big sellers. I think they're people recognize the label. I think they were more popular maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's recognizable is what it is. It's recognizable, but it's not something that I haven't had any of their wines, to be honest.
So,
but if I could, go ahead.
So are they? I mean, are they buying it? Well, almost like these guys, right? So they're buying it from. They're not producing the grapes themselves. They're buying it from various wine growers and then doing their own blending. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, that's what I understand. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And in that aspect, what makes that different than, let's say, Rodney Strong controlling everything? Is it just, I mean, is Rodney Strong limited in what they can do with their vineyard, or these guys a little bit have more power because they can blend all these different grapes from all these different vineyards? I guess maybe you could probably win or lose with that debate, but I don't know.
I think they may have a little more power, because they can experiment as well a little bit more. I don't know. 90 plus. I'm not saying they're bad wines, or I'm sure there's some good wines there. I just don't have any experience with them. But what I wanted to do is, if I could, this one here, the Cellar Classified, once again. Yeah. I liked it, as we know. I liked it better than the Blue Wing. Pete. Yeah. That's Pete's favorite. It's cool.
That's right.
Because the label here, the label here is very. I don't like the label. I saw this wine when it first came in. I didn't like the label at all.
It's horrible.
I don't like the label.
I remember when I went to pick it up after you recommended it. I'm like, what the frick is this? I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I like the mysteriousness behind it, which is it's supposed I can't find any information though. They won't tell me. It's like they all mum. So I don't know who the producer is, but it's someone prominent.
Well, like Kristen mentioned, she talked about consistency, right? So, like, I talk about Rodney Strong because I think they've been fairly consistent with what they produce. And you talk about 90 plus. I've had some of their stuff. It's been good, some bad, some, I know what she's talking about. Because I don't, the thing is, they don't really reveal all their way, who's the winemaker, are they changing winemakers all the time? Is it I have no idea what they're doing over there, but I know what she's talking about.
Absolutely. No, I definitely, I can understand and appreciate the question,
Yeah. Exactly.
It's right. But I think tonight we establish, trying to get away from that bias, where, though you did like the Rodney Strong, so.
I did, but you know what? It wasn't that. It was pretty close, to be honest with you.
It was close.
I thought it was close. I really do think it's close. I think it was close in terms of the tannin. I think, this tannin is just more rounded. I think I really like that. I think this tannin was a little sharper, but again, it's just sharp from my palate.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I think. Again, this is all subjective. You know what's going to happen? I think what's going to happen tonight is when I get the roast beef going with the potatoes and the salad with the oil and the vinegar and a little bit. I think the flavor profile is going to change a little bit. And we can talk about wine pairings a different time, but I think we're going to see that. So.
I think, Pete, you should match it up with the other one too, with the Cellar Classified. Give it, and see what you think there with the.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, there's plenty to go around.
You're doing that. But, yeah.
Well, what are you going to pair this with? Have you had dinner yet? I mean, are you going to do dinner or what?
Yeah, we're going to do dinner, but I wasn't really going to pair. I had the little mini quiches that Gabrielle made, which were really great, babe. Those were really good. With a little caramelized onion, some broccoli.
Yeah. Got it.
But no, I wasn't really. I wasn't gonna have it tonight with dinner. I'm just kind of having it tonight with you
Yeah, that's fine. I'll let you know we have about 10 seconds left. I want to wrap it up for everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Manuel, again, for choosing some great wines and proving we have a lot of label bias that we have to get across, but a lot of great